and a special good night to all our viewers here on the Caribbean American News platform. How was your week, folks? Well, not your week. Your week is still going on. How are you doing today? How are you doing today? Welcome to our news platform. We have a lot in the news tonight, a lot of breaking developments, and I'm wearing my headpiece today, my headphone, I'm sorry. I just wanted to get a little more clarity through the sound, but I want to just greet all and wishing you a beautiful night. Very sad night, indeed. I have a lot of developments and just a breaking development that just came in just before we came on our set. Very serious, and I hope that that we can come to an agreement tonight that the island of St. Lucia, it is bleeding, and it is bleeding young people. Folks, listen to me. We are bleeding young persons, young people. Just bear with me. All right, so we have breaking news. There is an attempt suicide by a young person there in St. Lucia. Just hit our news desk. More information will be provided, I believe, through GVD TV. So we are expecting someone to be on tonight with us later on. But that is the breaking news there in the island of St. Lucia, and it's very bad news to start with. We're losing our young people, and we got to do much better than this. There got to be a state of emergency at some point in order to get our society back together. And like we always said to you folks, righteousness exalts a nation, but sin brings destruction. And it is time for the people to repent and to turn back to their God. It doesn't matter at this point. I am speechless that we are losing young people. The majority of deaths that we have had on the island of St. Lucia, they are young persons, 54 of them, young boys. Then we have this development of a young lady being shot accidentally in St. Lucia. The news is not good. We heard of another body being found. Police are still investigating. I believe there was another set of shooting before we got on the news here tonight. Those breaking news, there are more details that we will receive. Police are investigating. A world in crisis, a country in crisis, my friends. And it is time for us to refocus. And also in our news, we're going to look at Mr. Speaker, since when that's your role. We're going to look at the Speaker of the House, and we're going to look at the opposition leader, Mr. Alan Chastanet. But before we go there, we have a guest on tonight, Miss Natuya Leonce, who will be with us. I believe she is a reporter from the GVD News there on the island, and so it's going to be very hot tonight. It's going to be something we got to pause and look at. She's going to come on to discuss the gun violence and crime there in St. Lucia. And as a young woman, I believe that, she is concerned, and a country in blood, young people losing their lives. And what we have is a bunch of silly political hacks back and forth, arguing among themselves, protecting victories while our young people are dying. on both sides fighting for position, political or fighting for power, fighting for themselves, while we are losing our young people to violence. They're not dying from heart attack and they're not dying from natural causes. They are being shot. They are being killed. People are afraid to walk. People are afraid to talk. People are afraid to even sleep now. As much that I do not want to be the bearer of bad news, but this is where we're at. So I'm going to run over to the island of St. Vincent just for a while, because I just want to show you that St. Vincent is also in some problems, because we have some vendors who were dealt a very bad hand by the government there in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and their vendors, their stalls, their benches, and their goods were cast into the garbage, while St. Vincent is going through serious financial problems where people are suffering. People cannot get food to eat. There's no job. The people have to send their kids to school. Vendors going out to sell, to apply their trade. And a government is on a system that is putting their foot on the chests of these people. I'm going to take you there, and I just want to warn you, it is going to get emotional for many of you. Please share the live as you come in. We're going to look at the Speaker of the House and the Privilege Committee and what is going on there, what you need to know about that situation, all right? So let's go over to St. Vincent, folks. And may I warn you again that some of the folks are very emotional. And the clip is from Eyewitness News. Mr. Kenson Chance, who is the owner of Eyewitness News, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So let's go over to Eyewitness News. The audio will get into place, just bear with us.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kenton Chance of Eyewitness News. I'm outside.
Our system is still heating up, so bear with us.
Our vegetable market is located on the ground floor. It's 7:31 a.m. And I was sent some images last night that showed what I was told furniture from the vendors who supply their trade. That was thrown out the market. I'm going to try to get a sense.
Okay, we're going to get back to that clip. We will do it last. Our system is still, as I said, heating up. Let's go over to Mr. Guy Joseph. I believe he attended a candlelight visual for the family of the bereaved family of Gustav, who was shot on his way doing some errands. So let's go over to GTV with Mr. Guy Joseph.
Let them get to the end of the rope. Try and pull them back before it is too late. Linnell was a loving young man. I don't think anybody in this community and the overwhelming support that the family have received is an indication that Linnell was a respectable and loved young man in this community. And so that is why we are here in large numbers. I know he had a lot of friends. I don't ever recall Linnell being involved in an argument, a confrontation, or even disrespecting anybody. I'm not saying he never did it. I'm saying in all my interactions with him, I never saw that side. He was always somebody, and if you hear the community, you'd hear more good things than you'd hear bad things about him. Did he deserve that? Not at all. Nobody, no matter how bad they are, deserves that kind of an outcome or end to their life. And so let us all take responsibility for our actions. Let us make our contribution to making our community, our homes, and our country a better place. Governments come and governments go, but we are here to stay. This is our home. This is our community. And so I am appealing to everyone in this community. Let us revisit where we are and let us do things differently so that as the memory of Linnell lives on, we can safely say that this became a turning point to making Forestier a better community than it is today. Thank you.
All right, again, we do apologize for the clip there. Please bear with us. Yes, just bear with us, folks. We just had a glitch. Okay. All right, folks, we do apologize. That is Mr. Guy Joseph. And actually, you also saw the newly appointed senator there with standing next to him. And that's the unity that we want to see in our country. Is the only way that you can fight against these ills in the society, especially the death of young, innocent people. Here is a family getting ready to bury Mr. Gustav, leaving his child and his entire family behind. Just left his home, went on an errand, and got killed. I think it is time for the country to pause, and it is time for the entire country should come together and, put your white shirts and get into the streets and send a signal not only to governments, but send a signal to the bandits, those who are the holders of guns in your society. Let them know that you're going to take your country back. You cannot allow criminal elements to run you a scare where you have to live in a cell in your very home. You cannot allow it, my people. And we do not care whether they're gang leaders or they're political politicians or policemen, wherever it is found. A message must be sent. And brethren, I hope you understand why I get upset sometimes with religious leaders. Now, I'm going to get to the news, but I want to say to you that I'm very disturbed. I'm not too emotional. I don't just fly off like that. But I am saying to you that the churches are too quiet while we are losing our young people. These are young persons who were brought up in the church. And sometimes because of double standard and hypocrisy, these young people leave our congregations. And they're out there, and what we do is that we turn our backs on them. Because they're not in our church, because they no longer come to church, we call them backsliders, and we leave them alone out there. We pass them straight, and I've seen it. I've seen where persons are disfellowship from the church because of pregnancy or some problems that they have, and Christians passing them straight because they feel that they are so unclean that you pass them in the streets. How can you minister to them? How can you reach these young people when you do not talk to them, when you are judgmental towards them? You don't sit and listen to them. And all you do is preach down to them and tell them how bad they are. And they're going to hell because they're not in our church, in our congregations every Saturday or Sunday morning. But the generation now, we got to pay close attention to them. We got to find creative ways to reach these young people. You cannot reach young people the way you used to reach them 20 years ago. Things have changed. Things have changed, friends. There are mothers who encourage their sons to have drugs in their homes and to have guns and have motorbikes and vehicles that they did not buy, stolen goods. And most of these families know that these things are stolen. And because of greed, they encourage their young people to have those things in their homes. And when they are shot and killed, then you come out that they were such a good boy in the society. When you know fully well that every night they're giving you $500, $600, $1,000 and they are not working. They're having new sneakers, they're having new clothing in your home, they're buying stoves and fridges for you, and they are not working. You at night hear when they come in 1 o'clock in the morning. But you're so city-wise that you can't see what is going on. And I'm saying this is the generation. We have created this generation. We got to deal with it. Listen to me, John Compton did not create it. He did not. You parents created this. And now because you have created it, the police now have corrupt policemen. The political system have corrupt politicians because you, the parents, have created crooked politicians, dishonest judges, dishonest speakers, dishonest politicians in the society, dishonest policemen, dishonest teachers, dishonest preachers and priests. You have created a generation of dishonest vipers, and then now you can't deal with it. It's out of control. And we as a church, we are busy just trying to have church and to be and to pretend that we are nice to each other and to go out once in a while just to give someone a bag of rice once in a while with a camera and a t-shirt on you to make yourself look good like you're doing something in the society. These churches were there in the community all their lives. These churches are there. There should be social programs not run by government, run by the churches in each community. There are at least 10 churches in one community. Folks are not outraged tonight to hear a young girl is getting to the point where life means nothing to her and she wants just to die. The place is demonic. It is demonic. I got a call last week, and I'm going to talk last week, and I got invited to go on. I got a call saying that you're live on the air at NBC. And they're over there questioning whether I'm a pastor, whether I call protest, if I am a pastor, if I am Pastor Quem, and all kind of ignorance while our generation goes down the drain. And I will call out Mr. Shelton. Mr. Shelton, you were there too on that NBC. You're an intelligent man. You're a smart man. You have influence. Use your influence for good. And rebuke some of these announcers who have no training whatsoever and is creating chaos in the society because they have not trained and they themselves are not brought up to be productive citizens in the society. I saw a clip where the man who tried to belittle me as a man of God taking a bottle and pelting that bottle at a woman because of a dispute, shouting to the top of your voice. What example are you? And by the way, we have politicians. We have politicians who are just like him, pretending to be smart and bright in their pretty suits, and are no example to the society. None whatsoever. And all you have is a set of politicians trying to hold on to power, but are not making the effort to reach these young people. Football games will not save them. They're dying at the football matches. You need to have church, and you need to have your government, local organizations coming together. And by the way, these businesses that are in St. Lucia, shame on you. You are losing, you are being robbed. You need to come together as an organization. Where is the Chamber of Commerce? Where are they? Where are the Chamber of Commerce? Where is the National Trust? Where are all these women groups and mothers and fathers group and La Rose group? All you want to do is to eat crab. That's all you want to do, eat crab and drink cocoa tea while your country is going into the garbage. You had carnival, a bunch of naked women on the street, young women naked on the street. Some of them are married and some of them are Christian because they enjoy the Lent season. They didn't eat meat. They didn't eat meat because the priest said it's Lent season, and they didn't do anything. They didn't drink rum. And as soon as Lent is finished, they're naked on the streets. And a government applauds and say, yes, it is the best carnival. And that's the society. You have leaders, church leaders, who are hiding and criticizing me for being out here, telling me that I'll be an embarrassment to their religious organization because I am here where people need me. I'm here where it hurts. I am here where young people are being killed. And people are concerned about things that are trivial, things that make no sense. Cursing your neighbor is not going to help the crime situation. There are families tonight who are burying or planning to bury their dead, and there's one who just got killed tonight. The country is bleeding with immorality. And I've seen this movie before, where a nation does not fear God and dabbles in iniquity, that nation is left to ruin. The people eat themselves. They destroy themselves. Hatred and bitterness among Christians and non-Christians are taking over the land. Politicians are crooked and are spiteful and are out for each other. And you, the people of St. Lucia, shame on you. You need to stand up and demand better in your communities. You mothers need to start leading. Fathers need to get back into the homes. All you want is to have Teresa and to have Margaret. You want to have 3 women, 5 women, and you leave that wife at home with the children, and you're not helping to create an atmosphere where these young men can respect women. When you have a man who is in the public domain that can take something and send it at a woman and insult her, that person can do anything to anybody. There is no righteousness in the land. And when Father Albert and those guys come out to talk, you criticize them. I am not a Catholic. But when he stands and he speaks the truth, you go at him. When I stand here and I speak and I get in and I speak to crooked politicians and crooked spiritual leaders and crooked mothers and crooked teachers and crooked policemen, then you come after the messenger. But how long will the doors of the ark be open? How long before one of you under the sound of my voice feel the cold clutches of death in your family, for you to stand up and say enough is enough? Until you lose your family, until you lose your son, lose your daughter, lose your mother, you're waiting for that time for you to stand up. It is time to stand up now, my people. It is time to stand. You are losing your generation. Almost 70. And based on the trend, almost 70 young persons will lose their life this year from gun violence. Not even stabbing or not even a punch. Young people are planning on Saturday nights to go into gas stations and to rob these gas stations with guns. And I thank God for that police officer who was there to foil that robbery in Labria, wherever it was. Policemen, don't be afraid to do your work. But some of you are as crooked can be, ain't it? When you cannot speak out in a country without being threatened, when you cannot speak out in your communities as community activists, when you are afraid to speak out because then something is fundamentally wrong in your country. Where are the voices of the churches talking to themselves? I got to call you out, folks. That's not what the Lord called you to do. He said, go into the highways and the byways. And then he says to you, if you love me, feed my lamb, feed my people. His people are in the ghetto. His people are out there, not between your walls. He didn't come to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance. Get out from among the righteous and go meet those people where they are. When last have you seen a pastor in the ghetto or in the hospital? When last have you seen a pastor show up when there's a shooting in your community? Oh, ye men of little faith, you're hiding, ain't it? You're protecting yourself behind your burglar bars. But you're losing your society, folks. Let me see if the system is back together, but you're losing your people, and it is time for you to stand up and stand out. Don't be afraid of all the insults. And don't come for me because I'm getting very short fuse as a believer when I see the level of hypocrisy, the level of hypocrisy among a people. Bitterness, they're angry. And you see it in the level of gun violence, how brutal, how human. Let me ask you this question. How can a human just walk up to another human and just shoot that? You got to be demon possessed. You've got to be under the influence of demonic forces. It is not normal. How can a politician just steal and be dishonest? You've got to be under a different spirit and not the Spirit of God. How can mothers not understand where they are? And how they have fallen so short in training these young people. You have mothers who are cursing F notes and mother this in front of their young children. Mothers who are smoking in front of their children, drinking, and some are even having sexual intercourse in front of their own children. Some of them are bringing different men into the homes every night as if it's an MTA bus stop. And nobody can speak about it because you will insult people. People will get offended by it. And so young girls now grow up with the idea that mommy was operating like a bus stop. So I can do the same thing too. Nothing. Once the guy put a condom, I'm okay. And right now you're seeing that they're not even putting condoms because they're getting pregnant. Young people are getting pregnant, but nobody's speaking about it. Teenage pregnancy, rape. Men abusing men in church and out of church. Men abusing their women. Yes, it's the last days. You better believe it. But we can save some lives in the meantime. We can be a better society while we wait for the coming of the Lord. We can demand better from our leaders as we wait for the coming of the Lord. Why should we sit by and lose our young people like this? Why all these churches are not taking the streets? Why are there not motorcades all over St. Lucia like you would have during elections? Why are there not motorcade with banners and loudspeakers in every community asking these gangsters to put their guns down? But you're jumping and you're whining and you're red, you're pink, you're yellow, you're jumping all over the place with your rum bottle in your hand, whining on John, whining on Teresa. Some of you whine on men and you don't even know it's men you're whining on because you're so blinded with sin. Instead, a nation coming out of COVID call a day of prayer and fasting and thanksgiving to God island-wide, shutting the island down and giving God thanks and praise and bringing sacrifices of joy unto the Lord for preserving St. Lucia during COVID. You went straight into carnival with naked women. And the women, by the way, they were more naked that they're naked. I don't even know if naked that was the word, but these women were more naked than any time in history. Couldn't wait to go out. Couldn't wait to go out in carnival. When there should be a day, the government should have called an entire day of prayer and thanksgiving to Almighty God. And the government should have asked all to call on their gods, call on the God of heaven. All of you call on your God and give him some thanks and some praise. But instead, you're out there in carnival. Thank God for St. Vincent. As bad as it is, there is Gospel Fest, where both government and church and everybody come together for Gospel Fest in the street. Righteousness exalts your nation. When I can say to you that no politician outside of joining forces with Almighty God can bring any change in your country. So I'm calling on both the United Workers' Party and the SLP Party to fear God and give glory to him, because if he's not powering you, then you will make a mess of the country. Yes, you will. So I am calling the nation of St. Lucia back to God. I am calling St. Lucia back to godliness. I am calling you back to godliness because I am tired of seeing in the news that young people are being killed by other young people. And that's the generation of viper that we were warned about. A generation with no tolerance, no love in their heart, no respect for life. Don't want to work because parents have, and you St. Lucians, listen to me, stop teaching your children to depend on government for handout. Yes, governments are there to put things in place when you fall short, but you have a personal responsibility. You have responsibility towards yourself to take a step in making your life much better than it is. Stop watching your neighbor's property. Stop watching the government property and you go and try to do something for yourself. Try to help yourself. But you have been dependent on government, and that's why you are so deep in politics, because you are dependent on government to give you handout until next election. And when you don't get it, you switch government. And so your children are seeing that you are dependent on government, and so they develop this lazy attitude that we can just go and take people's property. We can just go into a shop with a gun and take and take and take. And you hear people, the government, they don't give me a house. The government, I want money, everything. Boss man, give me $100, boss man. And the prime minister said it right. He threw it back in your face. He said, many of you come in, boss man, run something that things hard. These politicians train you like that too. They were handing out monies. They were handing out monies in the street. But folks, I got to cool out. My phone line is open. I'm not going to close it. It is open. And let's deal with this matter. Let's look at, folks, we got to get angry. We got to get angry that we're losing our young people. We got to get angry. We got to get tired. We got to get fed up. that is all kind of Facebook fight over nonsense and foolishness, why we are losing a generation. Governments are busy. Now let's look at this. We are losing our young people. And government are saying to you and I, we got to take, the Speaker of the House rather, is taking the opposition leader to a privileged committee because the leader said, now listen to me carefully, that Mr. Ernest has a joint account with another person. Take him to that privileged committee because the other brother says, because Mr. Shasta says that the other brother got a short stay in the U.S. That is what a government and a speaker sits down and wastes people's time and government's resources to go and deal with this baby childish garbage, and we got to be happy about it while our young people are dying out there. There is no emergency hearing. There's no emergency that is called in the House to deal with crime, to say, look, guys, this is an emergency. Let's bring our opposition leader, Mr. Shasta, together. We have our differences with him. Let's bring him together. Let's bring the independents together. Let's bring everybody together. The churches, the police, everybody, youth groups, La Rose group, all the groups that you have. Let's come together in the House and let's sit. Our country is in crisis. But you spend time violating the constitution of the country. Violating the constitution of the country in rage and anger and vengefulness to go after an opposition leader. How is that helping our young people? Now, if I was a young person looking on and I'm seeing a letter from a lawyer saying that here is a list, these are all your transgressions and violations, Mr. Speaker. Here is a list of you breaching the Constitution, burning the Constitution just to get at this man. And a court coming together and guiding and saying, look, guys, y'all got to stop this. Y'all got to go back and fix it. You all started wrong. Something is wrong with our nation. Something is wrong with our priorities as a nation. So I am calling for all to put down your tools, St. Lucians. Put down your fighting gloves. Take it off. Your country's in a crisis. Mr. Speaker, it is time for you to quit so that someone who can focus on nation building can come in and do that. Government ministers, those of you who are not up to it, you don't have the drive, the energy, your priorities is a little messed up because you got to get back first at someone who might have done you something. You got to fight that battle first before you can focus on the country. Step out and focus on your battles, your personal battles. But the country is in a crisis. The country is in a crisis. I don't know how often I can say the country is in a crisis. And this is not about assassinating anyone's character anymore. I am calling for persons to stop. Stop assassinating innocent people's character. Miss Joycelyn Fletcher, she's a beautiful woman, loves her country. It's not about her. Molly Ball is not about her. Guy is not about him. Jean is not about her. Philip Dupre is not about him. Shastney is not about him. It's about our young generation that need to be saved from themselves. So, I am saying it is time for St. Lucia to build more homes for troubled boys. Get them off the streets. The policemen and each community group know them. It is time to start building home for the troubled boys and girls in the country. Time to do that. Listen to me, don't put them in prison. You need something outside of prison, because in the prison, these boys are being trained even more to be rebellious when they get back into the society. So it seems that the jail, the prison, is now a training camp to harden these guys and send them back into the society. So I'm proposing that there are times when you do not send some of these young people to prison. You have young people in the prison who are on remand. You have government officials who are on bail for the same crime or worse. Why is that so? To be rebellious when they get back into the society? Sorry, I don't know how that happened, but folks, is like some influence just came in the studio and just brought up a volume on something. The volume is down, it just went up by itself. So we continue, we bind that up in the name of Jesus. So all demonic forces, keep your distance. Not tonight. We have zero tolerance for you. Go back to your hole in the name of Jesus. Not here. And not under our life and not with our listeners. Tonight we're serious. We are serious about saving our generation. We are serious about it. So I'm saying it is time to have more homes for the troubled youth. Homes that they can go into, they can learn a trade. You can give them computers, smart televisions, give them... why do we not have facilities in our communities for young people to go and play games, Nintendo games, for them to go and why we do not have electronic rooms where young people can go? I prefer them to be playing those games, Snake and Ladder and all the other things that you have. There's some nice games out there. Games where you're flying planes and you driving trucks. Why can't we have in each community? And I'm telling you, our governments have failed our generation, and we are paying the devil for it. Why are there not enough youth centers around St. Lucia? Trade centers that our young people can go. It is time to start building facilities to house our troubled children so that we can save them. It should not be run like a jail. They should still have their freedom, but they got to do choices. They got to have, you got to restrict them at some point. You got to put things in order. You got to wash wares. You got to cut the grass. You got to plant in the back garden. You got to clean the facility yourself. Why can't we have some of these criminals digging graves around the island? These prisoners should be out there serving the community. You mess up the community, you will clean it for the next 10 or 20 years if you're in jail. Why can't we have those people cutting the grasses by the street? Yes, those prisoners. And if they're going to tell you it's abuse, give them $1 a day. But get around the loopholes and get them to work cleaning up the nation. Have them to clean the drains. And to cut the grass all around St. Lucia. Get buses for them and drop them all over the place. Let them clean St. Lucia up. They will learn. It is time for some of them to get hard labor. 4 years hard labor. 5 years hard cleaning government buildings at night. It is time to take the country back. teach them some of these contracts that you all have given your friends and families. Let these prisoners go and build roads. You're destroying communities. We will make you build a community by force. Go bury dead. You go and bury dead. We'll find work for everybody else to do who are decent citizens. We'll create jobs for them. But those of you in prison, you're going to dig graves and you're going to bury deads. And we will bring some of you in the morgue, the city morgue, to bathe the deads because you killed them. We will make you bathe them and dress them. But it is time for us to take a hard stand. It is time for us as a nation to take control of the country. I do not understand for the life of me why we cannot bring the country under some normalcy. Why can't we pull that country from the clutches of the enemy? Why? With all these praying Christians speaking in tongues and Holy Ghost filled and falling down in church like mad people, why are you not going out there and break the bond of the enemy? Only in the church you want to do it? Go into the prisons and cast out demons. Go fall down in the prison and speak in tongues in the prison. That's where you need to go. Go up there. That's where we put most of our demon-possessed people. So go up there and do it. You make the country a better place. But let's see if we can go back to St. Vincent and stuff. I'm a little upset. It's all right.
Okay, so I have a vendor here. Susie, do you know what exactly is taking place here?
Well, for the weekend, they give some of us a paper saying that they are going to give me a paper, yes? A paper. Right. They serve us a paper say we must move our Charlie and please beside us. Tongue-board walkers.
When did they give you this?
Friday. That we must step up our...
Okay, so we're having problems with that video. So we'll get back to it. But right now, our focus should be on St. Lucia. It should be on St. Lucia, folks. We're losing our people. So let's go to the Mr. Shastney. I think I have something here. So I put a picture up there. So today it appears that Mr. Shastney was able to have, and his team have the Speaker of the House to put down his bazooka. Yeah, the bazooka was put down today. And so the Speaker of the House, let me explain to you. You see, when you're in a haste, to do mischief, you make a lot of errors, you know. That's what I find. You make a lot of error, and I'll show you something. I'll show you something, folks. The letter that was sent from Mr. Shastney's lawyer. Now, that the lawyers in Barbados send a bazooka from Barbados that touched down right close to Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker got the bazooka letter, sent back a small note, CC a lawyer at the bottom, saying that we will continue, that the client is aware of the procedures, and we are going forward with the hearing. Now, that's why I say to you folks, righteousness exalts your nation. And that's why you need to pray for your leaders. You hear me? Pray for your leaders. When your leaders' heart are clean, God will encamp around them. You hear me? But their hearts must be clean. You hear me? Good. I don't know the hearts of men. I don't know Mr. Claudius' heart. I don't know Mr. Chasney's heart. But by their fruits you shall recognize them. That's Bible. Stick with me, folks. So, letter was received, acknowledged. In the letter, the lawyer for Mr. Chasney asked that the hearing be put off. Mr. Speaker, in his rant and everything else, and as men, you have egos, and let me ask you a question. You men, have you ever gone somewhere driving with your wife and she telling you turn left, turn right? But you have your ego, you're saying, you're not turning right, it's up the next gap. Oh, that happened to me a lot. Guess what? They always end up right. You miss your stop. You have to go all around the bend in order to come back where you should have turned. That's Mr. Speaker for you. Mr. Speaker was given that document showing where he violated Mr. Chasney's right and privileges. It was showed to him where he bridged the Constitution of St. Lucia. But like a regular man with an ego, he went on and he flexed himself, and he did, the regular man thing, I'm in authority here, not you. Who Mr. Chasney think he is? He think that he what it was said? He was born with a silver spoon up his mouth. Those are the things that you hear, that sometimes as a citizen you get concerned about those statements. When a person starts speaking about your asset, then you know that asset is either burning them or, something is going on there. And so, closer to the hearing, the speaker sent a letter to Mr. Chasney saying to him, we're not going to have the hearing anymore. And if we're going to have it, if it's referred. Now, here's Mr. Speaker. Now, I'm just taking you through the process. Here is Mr. Speaker. In other words, saying to Mr. Chasney that we erred. That's all it is. This is not political, but listen to me. Because I am staying in the center of this divide. Because I am not a politician, I'm a preacher. I am the judge today. I am Mr. Speaker today. I am the judge tonight. And I will make a verdict tonight. And you, the people, you stay right there in my courtroom. Call your friend and your cousin. All right? So let's go through the event in chronic. Okay, let me not use that word. My tongue is a bit turned up tonight. I think that's what I need, some water, folks. Yes. So, in other words, Mr. Speaker is saying to Mr. Chasney that as a house, we erred. We made a mistake. Now it got to go back to the house. And if the gentleman wants to continue with their requests, then there must be a vote or agreement in the House. Which means that the acting Prime Minister who brought a complaint will have to, he's the acting Prime Minister, right? I think by then the Prime Minister should be back. But then the persons that were selected to rule over the transgressor, Mr. Chasney, I would not permit them to do so anymore. Now, let me ask a question. Why that was not done at the initial stage? Why was there not wisdom? Where were the lawyers in this matter? Where? Let me just slow down. Where was the DPP? Where was Mr. Kenny Anthony? Was he consulted on the matter? Now, I'm just asking questions. Where were all the brilliant judges who were first place in their classes, their law school? They were in the top 5. They graduated at top 5 in their class. The big time lawyers who were breathing anger and licking their chops for revenge. We finally going to get him because we said we were going to get him, and we did. So here are all the celebration that, yes, we got him, that fool. We get him. We got him. And here's Mr. Speaker on his lap after that victory. He went on to his program in celebration, and he said to you all, any one of you come after me, it's bazooka time. Where did that come from? I think out of celebration and excitement that we got him in our trap. We got him. We got him. No ka fini. We got him. We got him. We got him. So you say, as if any one of you trouble or mess with me, bazooka time. But little did Mr. Speaker know that over in Barbados, where the tomahawk lies, that they were already on the scene. Reverend, be careful when you have hatred in your heart, you know. Yeah, it's a very serious thing. You can't see truth and righteousness. It blinds you, you know. And that's why the Bible says that the fool said in his heart, there is no God. The fool said in his heart, there is no God. And so the Bajan firm, imagine the people even attacked the Bajan, the building itself. They said, Mr. Chasney, our monies that he stole, build the property. But while they were looking at the building, the tomahawk was already released. And while Mr. Speaker was celebrating live, telling you about his bazooka, the tomahawk landed right on his desk. Without any fanfare, this tomahawk was very quiet and calm. And so, Mr. Lawyer, Mr. Pretend Lawyer, Judge, Executive, QC, General, and all the other things. When he got that tomahawk, it disarmed his bazooka. And he delayed. He still said, oh, yes, we will have the hearing. It's still going on. Oh, yes, for sure. Now, remember, Mr. Tomahawk missed his first stop. So, as I said, like a husband who don't listen, you're heading for the next exit. It's going to be a long way around. But no. Are you hearing me, folks? I heard no sound. Let me just stop. I heard that there is no sound. 1, 2. Yes, there is sound. All right? So person, reset your device. But don't interrupt my thoughts right now because I am in Alice in Wonderland place. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as I said to you, there was no choice in this matter. Why? Because there was no righteousness involved here. Now remember, I told you righteousness exalts a nation. That's Bible. It also exalts any organization and institution in your country. Where there is no righteousness in the courts, then there is unrighteousness. And the wages of sin, the Bible clearly outlines its destruction. And so, for some reason, we hear it now that these people will not be sitting in the honorable chambers of the House to judge the unrighteous. As I said, that should have been done in the first place. Let's ask ourselves, how many times have this happened? That politicians have violated basic human rights and the Constitution of St. Lucia in their attempt to get at persons. How many times have court cases have been thrown out? I'm just asking questions. How many times have justice gone on in your country and have not been recognized by those who are innocent? How many times? How many times have we sent innocent boys and girls to prison because we want to do shortcut? How many times that small cases have not been heard because somebody knows somebody up the ladder? How many times have righteousness been denied in the land? So therefore, I am calling for a more educated people, a more righteous people to pause with all your excitement, pause and reflect on what I'm saying to you folks. Reflect on what is happening here. And if there's going to be a hearing in the future, it's going to be done right. If it's done right, I would want the opposition leader to attend. Because it's the process of the land. No one should violate the Constitution or law and order in your country. No one. Not a child, not a policeman, not a lawyer, nor a doctor. If a lawyer makes a mistake, if a doctor makes a mistake, or a nurse in the hospital, and a patient is hurt or damaged, then the doctor or the nurse need to stand up, acknowledge that wrong, and the law should be followed. If a policeman makes an error, the same should apply. Politicians, the same should apply. Justice should be for all, and the law should be for all. All St. Lucians should have a fair hearing. All St. Lucians deserve to live in peace in their country. All St. Lucians need to allow their voices to be heard in their country because you are sons and daughters of St. Lucia. all solutions must exercise their franchise and must be respected for wherever they place or cast their votes, they must be respected. Yes, my friends. The land is corrupt. The land is mired in spiritual wickedness and darkness in high places. And I say to you that God is going to tear that wall down if we don't turn and look to Him. He's going to bring it down. He says that every high thing, everything that exalts itself, I will bring it down. If your ego goes up, it will come down. If power gets to your head and power corrupts, if it gets to your head and you feel that you're the most powerful on the face of the earth, God will step in and He will demonstrate His awesomeness. He will let you know that I am the only true and living God, and there is none like me. Now, folks, I started blocking people. We're not going to have back and forth or disrespect because I am not asking any one of our viewers to disrespect anybody. I want us to be very polite, kind, and Christian-like because my platform, it is powered by a Christian. And that's me, all right? And so I would want us to, as you come in to my yard, that you act accordingly, okay? If you feel that what's on this platform is not the right diet for you, my advice to you is to find a restaurant that you can eat in. We are not forcing anyone to eat here. You're not in prison. And even in prison, you have a choice of mashed potato or macaroni and cheese. Here we are serving one diet. All right? If you can't eat the diet, find a Chinese restaurant down the road because this is Italian. Okay? I just thought that I would say that. But I don't want any disrespect. And I just want to say to Bernard Haynes, don't come onto my church live again and do what you did, although I did block you and remove you. All right? Don't do that. We don't practice unrighteousness. Okay? Good. So let's go forward now. Folks, the line is open. It is 929 586 1821. You can call it anytime. And I heard that a protest that was scheduled for tomorrow is postponed. It is postponed. So there is not going to be a march or protest or gathering tomorrow in Castries. And I'm happy that there is not going to be a march tomorrow in Castries. All right? I heard that the organizers are trying to push it back so that they can be in accordance with the law and with order in St. Lucia. And I respect them, and I appreciate that, and I wish all can follow in the same footstep. I don't want anyone to give our new commissioner any headache or any trouble. If she says to you, stop, stop. If she says to you, this is not the right path, listen to her. She is placed there for law and order. I don't care who you are, what politicians you are. You got to start following the laws of the land. You got to start being law-abiding citizens. And it got to start from our leaders in the society. All right? It got to start there. So any one of you under the sound of my voice who are planning to go into Castries tomorrow, stay at your home. Stay at your home until your organizers say to you that you can come down to town. If you go there and you get in problems with the law, that is you. But it is time for people to start respecting the laws of their land. Period. So our new commissioner, we're not going to give her any stress. Any stress at all. Please. All right, let's make her job as easy as possible. And for those of you with information concerning crime, please assist. We need to get some of these murderers off of the streets, because the next strike can be you and your children. We got to get them off. You hear me? We got to get them off the streets. And I hope you are agreed with me. Now, I don't know if some of these people have gotten the memo that this platform, we are not here to attack, and we are not going to be attacking anyone. I know a lot of you are accustomed to the mepui and the cuss off on the lives, but this one is here for righteousness, right doing. All right? This one is here for right doing. So you're not going to hear any mepui. You're not going to hear any cussing, any insulting here. I cannot encourage it. I cannot support it, because I am a Christian. Okay? So I am here to assist in helping to stabilize the country of St. Lucia. I'm here to help I want to be an example. I want to be an example to those who come under this life. All right? So I'm not going to tolerate. We are going to be blocking anyone who interferes with our platform. It's okay to share your opinions and your views, but do it respectfully. And if you want, you can even call our number. The number is there. You can call us, and we will be okay. All right? So don't do that. But okay, so I heard that the motion will be tabled November the 1st. November the 1st, that motion will be tabled in the House concerning the Healer, and I keep forgetting the other lawyer's name, Mr. What's his name? Richard, Mr. Richard, yes. All right, good. So let me see if I have something that I want to pull up here. I am working on it as best as I can. I just got a notification. If you bear with me, folks, let me just look at this notification to ensure that I bring you the right information. But let's see if we can go back over to St. Vincent and see if it's going to work.
People barrel, all them things, clothes.
Now I warn you, it's broken English.
In the garbage room. There is not in a good state, so they could put all of the things in them. Even my Italian was inside the market. It's ridiculous.
So they put the furniture and the goods in there?
They threw them away.
They threw them away?
Mm-hmm.
So did they tell you guys that they were going to throw them away?
No.
And how do you feel about this?
Kenton? Well, what can I say about it? There's a lot of things you have to say about it. Right about now. I'm so speechless this morning. Trust me. Because you have a lot of people who have decent benches. Proper paint, as well Julian said. Paint them. You could buy mahogany or pitch point, build nice benches, paint them properly, so you could go inside and sit down on them. People plastic tray, proper benches. Even look, some of them over there, we tried to prove them yesterday. And it was a riot, they go for police force yesterday. They could at least give you them. You understand? But when you want to check everything for everybody, even the things of them, the steel things of them, steel trays, and throw them outside.
You St. Lucians think that you're the only ones with problems, all right?
Do it in a proper manner.
So did they say why they were throwing these things away?
They said they're cleaning out the market, they're power washing.
Yes, Miss, you wanted to say?
Yes, I am saying I'm very hurt this morning of what happened here. Now I thought the market built for vendors and that vendors can put the things inside of the market. Now you taking the vendors thing and throw them in the garbage. When I go there this morning, I saw sucker onion, buster, all my green banana, all my provision gone inside of garbage. What do you want me to do? No! How can I live? How can I live? When did you do this to me?
Let me just explain my views. I have a counter in the market. I pay $12 every week for my counter. I leave my bench on the counter. Then now I am 74 years of old age. I can't stand up all the to sell. I went down they come in and collecting $5 every day. They must pay $5 and nothing for I sit down. And I fancy this government is a one-sided government. And you don't have nobody that you could go and express. Nobody don't coming out for you. And it's really hot cold for me this morning. Nothing I cannot sit down and sell my things on them. They throw away my bench. And I fancy this government is not good because it's one-sided. If anybody do anything, you can't go and complain to no one. And that is all that bank is checking on us because we are poor and we have to put food on our table. We have bills to pay. What you say?
How long have you been vending?
All my years. Since I'm a young girl. I must be about 20 years still. Now I'm 74 years old.
So more than 50 years?
Yeah, more than 50 years. Nothing quite sit down on us. It's real hot full.
Okay, be careful that the truck is moving.
You don't have nobody that you could go and explain your views to.
All right, thank you very much.
Hello.
Yes, miss.
Good morning. My name is Boris Luella. I've been at school on the 3rd of December 1967 in Vendrell. And it's commentary, the market is need a cleaning. But not like that way. I buy a trolley for $350. Now I call my trolley and be my thing. You don't treat people like that. We are all black people. We all come from God. I don't like how they treat us. Somebody crying this morning, and my heart crying. Because I buy my trolley for $350, I have to go in the garbage room and rush to get it. That is not nice.
So did you get it back?
Yes. Every day I pay my money, every day I pay my $6. She wanted to at 33. I don't see why they should shoot me like that. Some of my things them gone. That is not nice. So the 3rd of December, I never see that like this. The 3rd of December 1967, I vended how my children in the market. Married out to market, I'm not the way to treat us. I don't like it. And that is my one.
Thank you. So if you're just joining us, my name is Kenton Chance of Eyewitness News and I'm outside the Kingston Market. Late last night I received some photographs that appeared to show furniture that the vendors used to ply their trade or heaped up outside the market. So that's one gentleman. Yes, miss.
Yeah, I am complaining. What happened inside of the market is real stupidness. I can't believe this is a poor people government for the people and they're doing people in this way. People benches that they sit down and they mash them up. What they want people to go and do. What they want people to do. Things red hard right now. Things tough right now. When they happen to doing poor people these things, it's time for market vendors to take a stand. And now we protest, now we don't pay no money at all whatsoever. This is wickedness. I am a child and never send school. I am at bills and all kind of thing. When they do with this, what we gonna do? What will we do? Oh God, man. Is this a poor people government? Come on, man. We need to protest against this market. Vendors need to come as one. And then we protest. Don't pay no money at all. This is wickedness. Since yesterday when I hear about this, my pressure high. I know so my pressure still high. What I had was to go inside of the market, inside the garbage room, to go and pull out my trolley. And if you see inside of the mess inside of it, when you get a chance, take a picture inside of it.
So these things that they throw away are the things that are inside the market?
Yeah, what's inside the market? Inside the market is where they go inside of it yesterday and they throw and they mash up. Look at it, have a good bench for lady name and it over it. She had a nice bench. My sister would take out the seats but she don't paint up everything in her. You know what happened? She have to go tongue this morning, the report sheet. So she have to go tongue this morning. Is that right? All of them things fair. Come on, man.
just trying to make $1. You understand? No working in there. We have children and them who send school. Come on, man. It's just poor people government. Charlie, the people have to pay the people have to pay it. And now I don't get nothing. So let them kill each other.
Watch me, mister. Show them down in the big birthday. That is wickedness. What will we do? They don't have a job to give us. We employ ourselves. Oh my God. Why should they treat us like dogs? We are not dogs. This is wickedness. The things in the honey street out there in the market, they go for them. They have a good toilet inside there. So we to go. If we use the toilet, we have to go around by the man, go wash hands. That is not right.
I'm in the market for 34 years. This is the worst I ever see. Worst I ever see. They say about they go and clean up market, but they have a garbage usually storing garbage. The whole of town, they picking up garbage and bring inside the market, passing in front of my counter every day and store them. They have some toilet. It says based on the ground for since last year and they're still on the ground. Still on the ground. They have nowhere to wash hand.
Do you want to show me what you
Yeah, come on, come. Yes. Garbage room, and every day, garbage passing here going inside there. All kind of things. You can't catch your breath inside the here. You cannot catch your breath inside this place here. I'm here for 35 years. I can't make it no more. Dead animal, anything they pick up, they store fish guts, fish market garbage, Tokyo garbage, every garbage. That's go inside of there. They want to put inside of there.
Just make sure there's nobody inside there. Just make sure it's folks, if you're just joining me, this is Kenton Chance of Eyewitness News. I'm coming to you live from the Kingston Central Market. I'm on the ground floor where agriculture produces sold, and the vendors are complaining because they're furniture has been destroyed.
Thing for we to put them in there. Nothing. We have to put them on ground, and they have they lock up every day. Nobody.
Just bear with us, folks. I have a little more to go, but I have a statement to make after this. So let's just go back over to Eyewitness News. Reporter Kenson Chance, credit goes to him. This is his footage there in Kingston. And by the way, I just want to let you know that some of the vendors, I know them from a little boy, not baby, but a little boy. Every time I go down to St. Vincent, I would see some of them. So these are real people, and St. Vincent is drowned in poverty too. So let's go back over to Eyewitness News.
It's so very tight also. But they stop that. So she just leave.
But it really stinks in there. It's 12 minutes to 8 on Monday morning.
When you're there outside, you have to see my style. I have 5 stars. I pay $10 every day. In the week, I have to pay $60 a week. And that is really ridiculous. I understand how they say we cannot put no extension, no way. So how I can put an extension when I have a lot of things. Sometimes I have snacks, I have fruits, every little thing I have. So I want to know how I can make ends meet in the market. It is really ridiculous. Because they have to display alone. Yes. Like if we store display the things, that people will choose which one they need. If we don't display our things, people won't be able to find what they like.
Okay,
hold on. Now, I sell out the market. My wife sells in this market. We sell clothes and all of this.
So you sell on the upper floor?
No, I sell out the market. But my wife, we sell here. We have new brand barrel of clothes, cosmetics, baby's clothes, baby's thing for creamy skin, soaps, all of these. Leave them in the market here where we're paying for. And up to now, we can find some of our barrel where they take and throw in the garbage. Hundreds of thousands of dollars for people, you know, they take and throw in the garbage. Now how these things could be justified? You can't take these things and throw them in the garbage. These people, I don't know if they ever stop to check the rate of poverty in St. Vincent. If they ever stop to check the rate of unemployment in St. Vincent. If they ever stop to check how people live in St. Vincent. How vendors navigate through the system each and every day. And now they just come and just do all of this. Hundreds of thousands of dollars for people, you know, and the whole thing they throw in the garbage, you know. Full barrel, a good new brand thing, they take and throw it in the garbage. Now what are these things? What are these? What are these things? These things have to be violence or something against the people just like that, because we leave our things here. We just pay very expensive for this market. It's we who paying for this market. This market is not somebody home. It's not some petty bourgeois home. This is people who trying to make it. And we might be some whole thing.
How do you feel about the fact, well, the government was speaking about cleaning up vending on the streets, but all of the tables on the streets are still there. But those of you who are inside the market, your stuff, your furniture was destroyed.
Yeah, so now I feel this is a control. They're trying to control people because vending is a kind of liberated work. We have a certain kind of liberty. And I do believe, because now in St. Vincent alone is all over, there's something more behind this. What they're trying to do is to restrict people's freedom and liberty, is to restrict people's finance.
Okay, folks, so I know that's a long clip. It's very long, so we're not going to play any more of it. I know it's difficult for some of you persons to watch. The truth is, the vendors on the outside of that market, and by the way, the market is directly in front of the House of Parliament. It was in front of this same market that Mr. Prime Minister got a stone that burst his head right there in front of that market. The market was built, you know, I was a little boy when that thing was being built. You know, there was a wooden market there. I remember as a little boy, a little market in that same area. And so they built this new thing. And the vendors are saying that the authorities came into the market, took their stuff and threw it in the garbage. Now, COVID brought some difficulties to the land. These are persons who survive on selling. They send their children to school from selling. They pay their gas, their light, and everything else from selling. And here is a ruthless, heartless administration taking their barrels of supplies and their foods and their potatoes and Edos and throw all these things in the garbage. Imagine these are elderly persons. One lady from 1960-something, this woman, I was not even born as yet, she was selling at the market. I'm sure my grandmother would have known her, who is dead now. Took this woman's stuff and threw it in the garbage. I am saying to you that our leaders get very powerful when the people remains silent. In St. Vincent, they're a little different from St. Lucians. Vincentians do not mess around when it comes to letting their voices be lifted up together. I will tell you what's going on in St. Vincent. The teachers have lost favor in the government. Civil servants have lost all respect for the government. The vendors have lost all respect. The minibus drivers, the farmers, regular Vincentians have lost favor with this government. And the Vincentians are waiting at this time for the elections process. They have been protesting, they have been standing up, and you hear what they're saying, that they're not going to pay $1 again in protest. And trust me, they will not. And any authority comes there, the possibility is there that they will push them away. That's why there's a special unit in St. Vincent called the Black Squad. They're harsh. There's a special elite in the police force. They are not the SSU. They are not regular police. These are black squads that dressed in black, unidentified vehicles. They go after the worst of the worst. I think that group is directly under the Prime Minister. I had the privilege of driving with them, going out with them, while I was doing some work in St. Vincent for a company. I had the privilege of being with them, working with some of them. They are not easy. But these Vincentians believe in democracy, and they will take the streets to send a signal to the government that we the people demand better representation. But to each his own, and let's watch this space. But when I first saw it, it brought tears to my heart, and that's the truth. It brought tears to my heart that a government would take their goods, not you know, you give them the opportunity to move it or to collect it or do whatever it is, but these guys took Granny. Granny is 70-something. You took that woman potatoes, sweet potatoes, and you throw it in the garbage, and you are happy doing that. You're comforted. That's how heartless we have become as a people. Now, if I have a job like that to go and throw Granny thing, I would leave that job. If I'm in government and I'm doing that to Granny, I would want people to cry shame on me. I don't care what laws you have in place, but laws must have a heart. Law must have patience. So I'm just saying, if you go to break a man's house, and that's the only place the man and his family has to live, you have not even give them an option of going elsewhere, but you come and you demolish that house. I don't care how much court order you have. Something must be in place to protect the people of these countries. Before you break a house, you got to ensure that you assist them in getting another place. You don't break the house and leave them standing outside the rubbles. You understand what I'm saying, folks? So we need to demand that laws be put in place to protect you, the people of your country. How heartless can we be, even as a court? Even as a court. And I know there are some unruly people who they just bill on your thing and then they push up their mouth and they don't care. But I'm saying there must be laws in place to protect the vulnerable in the society. These vendors should have been protected. I know vendors can be rough at times. Vendors can be uncouth, some of them. They can be very harsh. They can be stubborn. That's the truth also. You tell a vendor don't put their tray at a certain place in Castries, that vendor will come and put it right there and tell you St. Lucia is mine. Some will even tell you my government is in power. Some will tell you I'm going to call my friend Richard Frederick. And all you're doing, is trying to protect that one vendor, give them put them in a better facility, away from the elements, the sun and the rain, giving them a better, a cleaner place to put their fruits. And can you imagine the food on the ground? And some of them walking over the food. My grandmother would say they blight the food. Anytime you walk over the food, you blight it. That's just a joke. But they walk over the food. They have dasheen, they have plums. They walk over the plums on the ground. Some of them, they go with their little, they have their little bottle of Majinwe thing, Obia thing. They sprinkle it all on the ground, all on the food. But some of the governments are saying, look, we will get you into a better facility where you can be away from the elements. You can't even we want to be outside. Although I like the idea of seeing, vendors outside and everything else, but it must be on a stall or something where, a controlled place where it's not on the ground, on the floor. But we can be very harsh as a people too. We don't like laws. We don't like restrictions. We don't like order. You don't want nobody to tell you what to do. You want to sell there, and that's where you want to sell. Even though you're blocking traffic or you're endangering the lives of pedestrians, that's where you want to sell. And nobody can tell you what to do. Because you were selling there since 1971. So you haven't moved. But there must be an orderly society. An orderly society. And governments, when they put in these laws, must consider the people. You must consult the people. You must not just sit in your chambers and come up with laws because your cousin sells by the road or because your best friend own a building in the CDC. So you put laws in place to protect those people. I'm sure because when I used to be in St. Lucia, I know Mr. Francis used to always be at the CDC. I don't know if he was living in the CDC, whether he has an apartment in the CDC, but I know he always used to be there. And I know there were a lot of people in certain political parties who lived in the CDC and owned property in the CDC. So what would I do? I would go and put laws in place or put something in place where, you know, something can happen with the CDC because I have interest there. And that's where we fail as a society. It is how we can benefit. You can benefit. That one can benefit. It should be how all of us can benefit. How all of us can gain the protection that we need from in the country. So I'm not going to be here long, but I just want to say to you folks, you hang in there. Now, there was an attempted suicide by a young person, and I was just told while I was talking to you, and you might be wondering, how does that happen? You're talking, plus you're focusing on something else. Yes, I can do that. I have more than a two-track mind. Yes, I just got word that there's a rise in suicide attempts among young people. And we got to ask ourselves why. Why young people want to kill themselves, take their own lives? Why? What is going on? What is the demonic force behind these actions? Why are young people getting to the point of wanting to destroy their lives? What is going on? Why? We got to find the root of this thing. We got to occupy the minds of our young people. We need to get them involved. We need to get them involved. We are losing them. And by the way, there's a lot of young people in evil these days. There's a lot of young people who are dabbling in very dark places. And I tell you folks, listen to me, when you mess in dark places, then somebody's going to want their pay, and that's the devil. Payback is terrible when you dance with the devil. Because when you dance with the devil, you'll get burned. There is absolutely no doubt about it, that when you dance with him, you will get burned and you will smell like smoke. So I will say to young people, you got to remain focused. Take your time. You can achieve, you can get stuff in life, but you got to start like anybody else. Young people, you start from young, you get your little education, you get your job, you get a piece of land. You realize I said a piece of land and not a car. Because young people go for a car and a sneaker over a piece of land. Now, if young people were really smart, and I know you all are, you would have had lands now at a cheaper rate. Because the price of land have gone up for the past 10 years. And now you got to buy, if you want to buy, at a higher rate. So your priority should have been your education, a job, starting your family if you so desire. Then you want to, and you don't just want to start a family, you know. You want to plan for that family. You want to have money aside for that family that you're planning. You want to know that you can send your children to school. Don't bring any child in the world that you can't send to school. Do not bring any child in the world that you cannot go to school, send to school, and you cannot feed. Don't bring any children in the world if you don't know where you're going to put them. Don't do it. So therefore, as you start from the beginning, you plan your future. This is why I want to see myself when I get 30. I want to have 2 kids. I want to have my wife, my house, my car, my land, my whatever it is. I should have my doctorate, whatever. This is where I want to be. But nobody is there to teach them that. You're there to teach them the fast life. Go sell some crack and get some fast money, some marijuana, get some fast money. Go rob somebody, break into somebody's house, some fast money. But you're not saying to them that that is a fast destruction. It's your fast death. Because the wages of sin is death. So we got to take back the generation and start teaching them how to plan their family. And when I say they got to know family planning, when I say family planning, I don't mean abortion, you know. To plan your family is to set down that foundation. Set it down, get a piece of land, build a house. Get your loans early when you're young. It's good to take loans when you are young. It's good to get your loans early so that when you get to a certain age, you're not paying mortgage still. You'll have already paid off your land, paid off your house, paid off everything. And then you don't go into retirement still paying loans. So start early, young people. Start early and you'll be okay. But folks, my phone line was not working tonight. And so I will try to get that organized sometime this week. But I want you to have a peaceful night. And let's keep the fire going, folks. Stay positive. And don't go to any protest tomorrow. Don't go out there tomorrow. If you go out, it's not going to be a legal protest. And the possibility is there that you will have to pay the consequences of that. All right? So God bless you, folks. And continue to pray for your country. Continue to keep your country in prayer. Continue to keep your leaders in prayer. And continue to be a loving and respectful citizen, both in St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Grenada, and Dominica. But we continue to pray for our folks in St. Vincent, in Dominica, and Grenada. I understand that Dominica is having some problems over there. The citizens are not happy. And the Prime Minister, they're in the government in Grenada, they're new. And they have been doing a lot of good stuff over there. And so we'll be getting an update from we have a new correspondent there in Grenada. And we are hoping that we can introduce that correspondence to you sometime next week. So it's going to get interesting. We're going to go around the Caribbean. And so Grenada, we'll look at the government there in Grenada. And then we will get connected with maybe Sky Witness there in St. Vincent. Eyewitness in St. Vincent, so we can go around the Caribbean and show you what is happening in their country, and you would understand what is happening in yours, and maybe you might protect your civilization there a little more. All right? So folks, God bless you and have a beautiful night. And I can't greet you now because I got to run. Those of you on our friends on YouTube, we had a lot of folks over there tonight. And so I want to thank you. Remember, those of you who have not subscribed to our Caribbean American News channel over on Facebook, on YouTube, please go over there and subscribe now. We got to build those numbers. Remember, we have to build our soup kitchen. So we are still expecting you to go over to YouTube on Caribbean American News Network and follow, subscribe over there. And for those who have not subscribed on our Facebook page, please do follow and like. All right? Please follow and like the page itself. Not the program here, but the page itself. God bless you, folks. And if any new development, I will be bringing it live to you. I believe that there will be a press conference tomorrow by the opposition leader, Mr. Chasney. And so we will watch this space. We will keep you updated on those developments. But the news tonight is that Mr. Bazooka Man ran out of bazooka for now. All right? So he got to go back to the drawing board and put things together so that he can stay within the laws of the land. Okay? So, folks, dormez bien. Good night. And one announcement. Okay, so the St. Lucia House Foundation and the Consulate General of St. Lucia presents the official Junior Creole celebration, Junior Creole, and that will be held on October 30th. That is a Sunday at 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Donations at $10, and that will be, I believe, at the St. Lucia, St. Lucia House, 436 East 49th Street, Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn, New York. So those of you who are in Brooklyn, there will be lots of food, lots to eat there. But while you're eating, please remember those who have nothing to eat. Always be mindful. All right? So that's Judo Creole there in Brooklyn, and that is from the St. Lucia House Foundation and the Consulate General of St. Lucia. Judo Creole, October the 30th at 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Again, donations are $10. For those of you for your promotions and your ads, you can send them to our WhatsApp page at 929-586-1821. Your events. We are not promoting any alcohol events here. So any events that you have, information you'll want to pass out, announcements, please pass it. Send us a message at 929-586-1821. If you want us to create the ad for you, please let us know, 929-586-1821, and we will be having our commercial breaks. We will be having our advertisements up and running, just like this one. This one is a free promotion for the St. Lucia House Foundation there in New York. So please, again, if you have your events in St. Lucia around the world, please send us. This is becoming the number 2 or number 3 favorite show for you, the people of St. Lucia. All right? I leave the top for Maniva and Marvin. I am just a small fly, a small guy in the broadcasting field here on social media. All right? So God bless you. Thanks for your support. And please look forward to your text at 929-586-8121 with all your events and announcements and your death announcements. You can send it to us also. We will do the death announcements here free of charge for everybody. All right? Everybody. Church announcements are also welcome. Good night, folks. Beautiful night to you. Top of the night.